just next to Krosoya Momshade. That is where you find us. That is where you find our studios. And we as Mogalakwena TV, we want to extend our word of gratitude to Batho ba Mogalakwena for always following us and for always checking our stories. And we really appreciate re batho ka lena, and we appreciate your support. We appreciate the love that we receive when we pass Kostarateng and when we see us. And I think we have made peace with the fact that ke bana ba Mogalakwena, o gogola ba Mogalakwena TV, and we appreciate that you see us. We appreciate that you love us. And today we are coming to you on a Wednesday. We are having a different topic, and I think it is of utmost important. When we were studying Koskolong, I for one had studied environmental economics and how the link between the environment and the economy, and how the well-being of the environment plays a role in the economy. In any case, you are told about little things or minor things, they end up playing a very huge role in the economy. Issues of littering, and we are told about pollution, and we're told about issues of mine and how they pollute the land, they pollute the air, and how they pollute the ground. And we are talking to, these are issues you will find when you study environmental economy. And again, you will find that now there is taba ya go cleaner the environment. Do you see people collecting tins, plastic, boxes for recycling purposes? And this is playing a role in the well-being of the environment. And that is why Mogalakwena municipality, we have seen the municipality has tried, but it's this big green bin so that batho ba kgone go latlhela ditlakala ka mogare, and then when you want it, you apply, I think, through your councillors, and municipality will come and drop off that bin ko corning ya lena, and then that is where you're going to put your waste. And in particular, this is benefiting people who are living in rural areas, Madiba, Mushate, Mzumbana, and all these places, they come and collect into it. But I'm not an expert in this. There is a person who's advocating for this. There's a person who knows much better, and he will educate us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm with Tau, Tshepho Madiba. He is is it correct for me to say an environmentalist?
Activist.
Activist.
I'm not an expert. I'm just passionate about the environment. I'm just surrounded by a number of experts. So I'm just an activist.
Sure.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you, Ndadenti?
I am good, thank you.
Yeah.
Religious home.
No, we're not environmentalist. Hey, what? So yeah.
Yeah. But are you good?
Yeah, Gishapo, man.
It has been a while since we spoke. It has been a while since we had a conversation. I hope all is well with you.
All is well.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, it's been a while. But you know, with age comes a lot of responsibilities, matatanyana, mula, shifts, and all those things. And they consume most of our time.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, but I think issue ya bophelo, and we look at it with ecosystem and the environment. We tend to look at our lives further as much, and we forget to look at and take care of life of plants and animal, and life of the environment, the soil that we live in. And this is where you come in as an activist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is your role as an activist in terms of environment?
I think my role is well defined in the sense that I advocate for sustainability. in the sense that the environment is designed in a systematic way that we all depend on each other.
Yeah.
Right. We depend on the trees, the animals themselves, and to some larger extent, they also depend on us.
Yeah.
So it's not like, from my point of view, it's not like we are harming the environment and then we are gonna get away with it.
Yeah.
I understand. In the process of doing that, it has a lot of negative impact on our lives and on our livelihood. Or what? So whatever lifestyles that we have, whatever decisions that we make on a daily basis, they do have a small element that contribute, whether positively or negatively, towards the environment, which in a longer period come back to bite us or to bite the next generation.
Yeah.
So my role then is to say, let us be aware. And then if we continue to do that, then let us prepare for the worst.
Okay.
Yes.
You are doing this through an organization that you have started. Please take us through the environment. But I want you to take us through the vehicle, the NPO that you have. But you also spoke something very important, that it is about sustainability. You cannot sustain what you do not have.
Yeah.
And you said plants, animals, and us as human beings, we all depend on each other. And you spoke about the cycle of life. You know, you hear it.
Lion King.
Lion King. I'm such a child, eh?
Yeah. So I grew up and I love my community. I grew up more Madiba. And growing up more Madiba, there's a lot of memories that as a child in the environment that I have. And go to Madiba ke kerekeng ka mo magolereng ke tshela noka, very clean river, you know. I would see crabs, I would see fish. You know, it was very clean. We would go sometimes re chabela ka nokeng ro tunta
Re ya Gambeu.
And growing up, I on Sunday mornings you would hear songs ka ko Gambeu of people doing their religious rituals and activities, different denominations and obviously cultural sects doing whatever that they are doing that side. Now growing up to be my age, when I cross I don't get the same experience. That sense of belonging is gone, because now the water is no longer clean. Those crabs, the fish, there's a stench. What is the cause? Out of curiosity, there's dumping all over the river banks and everything. So what has happened? Understand? Then you start to be inquisitive, because then I grew up here. I know the feeling of it, and then you know that's very refreshing, but it's no longer there. Then you start to investigate. No, you go there, it's contaminated. No one is going there. Then what is happening to the cultural side and the spiritual side of the village? Because those are one of the most critical elements that builds a community. So those things are being taken away from the community. So honor the environment speaks to a whole lot big issues than honor. It even affects the spiritual well-being of a community, because now instead of us understand. So those are the elements that, as an activist, or those are some of the elements that actually inspired us to then sit down and say, but how do we then try to mitigate this problem? What is the cause of the problem?
But when you talk about us, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the vehicle, Envirovit, which is the NPO that we registered in 2019. It was the NPO we registered in 2019, and then initially it was a vehicle that we wanted to use to rehabilitate Mogalakwena le the Maopane.
Maopane, yeah.
That was the vehicle that we wanted to use because that was the critical element. It was very, very, very much close to my heart. So we then realized, or more, there's a bigger problem here. Our communities are not aware of actually the damage that they are doing by just simple acts of littering. So we're going to clean this river, it's fine. But I mean, I think we did the project for 3 months. It was clean, certain portions. But when we went back, understand? So then it becomes to say, okay, we need to give a certain level of literacy to actually teach these people to say no. Fellow South Africans, we have a problem, and the first problem is us. Yes, we understand or we might not have adequate infrastructure.
Yeah.
But before all these things, what happened to our indigenous ways of doing things, of disposing waste before there would be sophisticated municipal infrastructure? We need to revisit those things because pollution where there's human being, there will always be a footprint. But why understand or how did our forefathers deal with that? So that's when we started to expand the scope of the organization to go into environmental literacy and then climate literacy, where we teach people, okay, now that we are littering, there's the issue of climate change. Global warming.
Yeah.
There's global warming, there's climate change.
Yeah.
You see, the patterns are changing now. There's food insecurity because of climate change. And everything has got to do with our habits. Yes.
We are the problem.
We are the major contributor. Yes, we are the problem because we are the most intelligent.
We are the only.
We are the most intelligent being, yet we lack some
intelligence,
sort of control.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically that's how we started. We started very small with a small idea, and then it expanded when we were exposed to other information and other partners as we were growing.
But how is it going? The literacy part of it, how is it going?
The literacy part of it is it's massive. We're making an impact. In 2020, we managed to launch what we call the Waterberg Biosphere Reserve Youth Network, which now is sitting around close to 300 young people across the Waterberg. From Tabazimbi, we identified areas and there's not necessarily mining, but there's a lot of activities like farming, mining, and all those things. So from Mogalakwena, Tabazimbi, Falvadar area, and other areas within the Waterberg, even Liko, Lepalal.
Yeah.
We've got young people that have formed a Biosphere Reserve Network. We're doing that in collaboration with the Waterberg Biosphere Reserve. With LIDET as well. It's part of a critical stakeholder, and the South African National Biodiversity Institute in Verkisanbi. Game breeding
Zoo. Yeah.
Yes, and the part of the stakeholders, DFFE. So dinally, all these departments, dinally, the smaller wings, still or they deal with different issues, body waste and all those. So we're dealing with some of those people, and then we're looking at the issue of air quality as well. We're educating communities in Tabazimbi, especially young people, because they are the future. If they get it, then we are sure
we have sorted the problem. Yeah,
it's sustainable.
Sure.
So we're focusing on young people, on air quality issues. We are also having a teachers network. We call it Sustainable Schools. We have about 20 schools, 40 teachers. But we are teaching them on environmental issues in collaboration with Nature Connect and Lapalala Wilderness School. They're doing the implementing programs in the schools. They are educating their students environmental issues within the schools. So we are one of the first organizations to actually introduce what we call a school management school environmental management policies. So we are trying to build a culture of environmental consciousness from we're having a bottom-up approach. So we're targeting schools, young people. We attempted to do a traditional leadership network. You know, with traditional leadership, we've got a very, very, very serious challenge with that.
Yeah.
But we are hoping, we're not giving up because it is our people. Yes, so yeah, we are growing. You know, when you're dealing with environmental issues, my friend, you must be very careful because you're stepping on a lot of toes, especially more in mining affected areas. Yeah. So
but this, okay, before you get into that, I wanted to ask you, because you have mentioned all these stakeholders, or these are stakeholders that you're working with, but in all these there is no mine that you have mentioned, and they play a role in pollution, and as they mine, they affect the well-being of the of the environment. And you have not mentioned them. Are they not part and parcel of coming up with a solution, or doing research of some sort, and putting funds into it to say, help us to have fight this monster?
help us. It's not their language.
Oh, it's because it's not about them, eh?
It's not their language. To some extent, they have a responsibility, a duty of care in terms of the National Environmental Management Act. And also, remember, mines do have a social responsibility as well. So I believe for one, that there are programs in place which have been done by the mines. Remember, the environment is a very big space. You might find out there are maybe and we are not aware of it. But I am hoping, based on my understanding of the responsibilities that they have towards protecting the environment, as they are one of the major polluters, that they should have plans in place as to who are the role players, whether they identify or they recognize the efforts of local NPOs and NGOs. I mean, it's an issue of preference. One, we would like to engage minds. When we started the rehabilitation program, we actually lucky enough to have a Wanaka Trust, which is part of the commitment by Ivan Platz, they assisted us in launching the project. So you see already there. And then there was also another project that they did in villages, waste management. So that is what we want to see. We don't want to be the custodian, or we don't want to be the only people doing that. We're saying we need to inspire a culture. Tomorrow, Mogalakwena TV might decide to start an environmental program. That's what we want to see. So it's not about us doing something, but it's about every stakeholder in the community playing their role towards making sure that there's a positive contribution towards environmental sustainability and protection. So it's not about us. When we need their help, we will approach them, and we hope that they lend us an ear. It's not a must.
It is funny when that you're saying when we need their help. Are you saying there's time where you will not need their help?
We are saying that I'll just disclose to this. We are working with a lot of academia who are doing research for us in terms of what is happening in the waterback. And most of the data that we see, if we are going to sleep and have some agreements with the mines at this point, it might give us a problem later on when we want to hold them accountable, because we are going to hold them accountable. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of research that it's happening right now. Looking at their compliances, we know what is happening to Anglo, we know what's happening to Ivan Platz. We're doing our own research. We're collecting our own data from our own team. That when we're going to sit down with them and say, okay, show us your reports, and we will show them our credible reports to say, but this cannot be. So we are very careful as to who do we engage in terms of asking for funding. Or one, we are not against collaborations. If they want to collaborate with us on a particular project, it is fine. But we don't want. We are very careful. Especially when you are in Mogalakwena, you have to be you have to understand also the political dynamics, community dynamics. Or when it comes to mining issues, the moment you associate yourself with mines, and then tomorrow you're trying to help the very same people with something that the mine is doing wrong, you've been viewed with a certain eye. So you need to be you navigate the terrain very carefully. So for now, we are saying we love them. They are developers, they are an investment, and we want to collaborate and work for the good of the community when the conditions and when the terms are right. For now, I don't think we are prepared to can sit down with them and discuss anything, because there's a lot of kono sandla semfene sikichima kakhulu la.
And you in stakeholders, I have not heard you saying, you spoke about Department of Forestry, but you have not spoken anything about the role here, these municipalities that are found within the district, because you're saying you spoke about Tabazimbi, you spoke about Lepalale. Of course, you are here as well, Mokopane, but you have not spoken about their role, the roles of municipalities, local municipalities, in the issue with regard the issue, the environment. What is their role? How do you engage them? And I'm asking this question because we went out the other time. We went to Mogalakwena because we received a call. Raya Kumshate, and then Kumshate there was issue where the water is contaminated, and it's contaminated by storage ela idukang kodimo kodifeme, and it flows into Mogalakwena river, and it affects the health, the animals.
Yes,
but then what is their what is their involvement as Mogalakwena or as municipality? Not only this municipality, because but these other municipalities that you guys are operating from, what is their involvement in fighting and in advocating for preservation?
It's funny enough, we were one of the people who actually investigated and tested the water there.
Oh, okay.
When we find that it has E. coli, and because we received a letter from the smallholders, when they killing their animals, disnadivity and everything, and then they tested and they found there's a problem. So we tested the water. The water was inally E. coli. So we went to the department of the district department of water.
Water and sanitation.
Water and sanitation. We said there's a problem. Are you not supposed to be testing metzale? But no, they are testing metzale, and they do regular tests.
Yeah.
But so okay, after you've tested the water and you found that there's contamination in the water, what have you done in terms of making sure that area they know or this water is not good for consumption, whether for people or for livestock? But no, we did not do that. But that's a violation of human rights. You're supposed to tell them, supposed to make awareness, right? And then we sat with them down. We agreed. That was in 2021. We sat down. We said no, catchment management forum, because that's what the law prescribes. There must be a catchment management forum. There must be a stakeholders, including mines, all these businesses and municipalities and farmers. We established that forum that will make sure anything that has got to do with water. That forum will facilitate and make sure if there's alerts, if there's anything that commission should know, by make out that thing should happen. I have emails. I'm still waiting for the date, 2021. I'm still waiting for DWS to call us and say we have called stakeholders. Let's start the forum.
But then I hear what you're saying.
Yes.
There is leakage, yeah, pipe. Why was a blockage pipe, and then you solve the problem?
Well, no, I think there was also Mr. Tina, there's certain things that
Of course,
we
of
want
course.
to avoid
Yes.
discussing. Hence, I'm saying that there's quite a lot of data that we are working on and with various stakeholders. That when the time comes, we're going to sit down and say, this is what has happened. Or understand? So I don't want to. We're on stealth mode.
Okay.
Yeah, we are here, but we're not
Okay.
here.
Okay. Let's leave
So, but
that.
what I'm saying basically is that there is work that has been done. Now, what is the challenge with dealing with institutions that are responsible for implementing certain laws? Is that they know how to circumvent and to delay and to do all those kind of things. So when you're dealing with those institutions, you have to do your due diligence. You have to make sure because they're going to take you to court. Better go court, a very minor thing. So what we are doing now, we're compiling, making sure that our research is well done, thorough, and then when we start engaging, we're going to engage. To municipalities, we would like to work with municipalities. You understand? But we do not want to be political. There's a lot of politicking in anything and everything in the water bank currently. I'm not sure if it's happening all over South Africa. Even just a project the wheelchair is political. You understand? So a lot of good initiatives are being derailed because of politics. So, and secondly, what we are doing is that we do not want to have a toy or a fighting kind of approach. We are working on systems, also solution-based systems that when we approach municipalities, when we approach mining, based on some of the researches that we've done, these are the solutions that we are proposing. So it's not something that, remember, the municipalities and the mines have been here for longer. They've tried certain things, they did not work. So it's also for us to then sit down and say, the first approach is not roll. Get about, okay, we acknowledge there's a problem. We are proposing that we do this and then see. So yeah, we want to have an approachable relationship with the municipalities around the water bank, not a hostile one, but for us to be in that position, we need to also be prepared in terms of saying, okay, what is it that you're bringing on the table? Okay. So that is what we are currently doing.
I want us to leave Tabacha municipality and go back to you spoke about the bottom-up approach, and you said you're targeting mostly schools and young people. What are the projects, programs that you're running at schools?
We, through Sustainable Schools, we are running food gardens, consumption and waste, which is a focus area. So we've got focus areas for schools. And then we also running the workshops for teachers. We're running workshops for teachers. What we are currently working on now is we are working on a model, a sustainable agriculture model that we want to pilot. I think by the end of this year we'll be able to pilot that model, where we want to integrate various elements of agricultural systems in the schools, because remember the college are not a backbone, especially in rural schools. There's a lot of poverty in our community. Understand that we have cases where they don't even know when they leave school. The only meal, we have those recorded cases. So we want to come up with a system where the school then becomes the backbone of food security holistically, because our approach to the food gardens only, but we want to have an integrated system, which we are piloting at a very small site. One day when we're done with the infrastructure, we'll invite you to come and see what we are trying to do.
Sure.
So we're doing, we're teaching teachers the food gardens, consumption and waste. We're encouraging schools. Our schools are they're big on recycling and upcycling as well. Renewable energy is part of it. Most of our schools are now converting to using the solar in terms of reduce their workloads. Water as well. how do you manage water at school. It seems like it's a small space to operate, mara for a kid that is the world, because they spend 75% of their time ko sekolong, wa bona. So those are the programs that we are actually working on in a fun way. So we've got 9 focus areas. Some of them I forgot. So each year we introduce a different focus area, and then we have what we call the Sustainable School of the Year award, where we award the most sustainable schools based on the points that we have given: the clean school, proper garden maintenance, saving water. So we've got instruments at the schools, and then we have an online platform called the Hub, where teachers find resources in how to implement this project. And we also, so we do a lot of activities. The plan was to have the first 3 years educating and capacitating our teachers. So now we are working on a research and on a program for teachers. One of the things that we've realized is that like December, there were a lot of floods go Tabazimbi, yes, no, schools were affected. Right, schools were affected because of heavy rains and stuff. So one would ask themselves, what would happen if that thing happened during school hours? Are our teachers well equipped to can respond to such challenges if they can? The thing can happen at any time. So with the safety of our kids, understand that? Is the school well prepared to deal with heavy rains and floods? Because most of the questions that we ask teachers is that, what happens when for instance, that is dangerous. Understand? There's a heavy rain. What if understand? But now almost go pace 5. So one lot go pace 5. Safety, understand? So we want to capacitate teachers in terms of to respond to climate related disasters during school hours. So it's a work in progress. It's this thing is very complicated and very big. We get commander.
And you spoke about waste and consumption.
Yes, waste and consumption.
And you find, and I'm thinking, I'm applying myself here when you speak about waste and consumption. It's something that we do from Korai.
Yes.
Explain it in layman's term. What are you talking about? Like waste and consumption.
Waste and consumption is we need to teach our people what we call Ketlanova basic. We've got recyclable materials. Right. We've got and then we've got now we've got the biodegradable materials. They have biodegradable plastics. So now we, through waste and consumption, one of the ideas that we want to teach is that people should prefer certain things over certain things based on the type of waste that it will produce. So I'd rather get a bottle than plastic. Because a bottle, it can be recycled and I can reuse it. Plastic, I'm going to take it, I'm going to use it and throw it away. And plastic, it takes about 500 years to decompose, if to start decomposing.
A bottle, you're talking about a glass bottle?
I prefer glass bottle because we see a lot of shift in especially in the glass and beverage glass related industries. Coca-Cola, they're trying a lot to invest in terms of recycling, making sure that the material are recyclable. Understand? So your consumption, we want to actually advocate that your consumption, we cannot control human consumption. If you want 2 liters of 5 culture, but is your waste going to harm the environment, or can it be put back into the shelf? Understand? So that is basically what we want to do. And I see a lot of positive positivity in terms of the main industries shifting into ensuring that a lot of things are recyclable. No, but our friend, because the material they are all over the place, and that's one of the challenges. So consumption and waste also is that after Rosno Jago Skolong, what do we do with the Maoba Ashiki Skolong? I understand because 75% of what we eat at school is what we eat at home.
Yeah.
So if cabbage go skolong ke kgono yepela ka ikhupetsa ka kgono jwala or ka kgono biodigester something, so I can do that also at home. So it is something that we want to actually saying someone can reciprocate.
Yeah.
I can do it at home, I can do it at school. If I can do it at school, I can do it at home. So that's the kind of culture that we want to do. So consumption and waste is very big. I love it.
Yeah, I've seen with consumption and waste. I've seen, is it in but there's some countries in Europe and there's some Chinese countries, Boma Japan, Boma Korea, where when you have done using a plastic after drinking water, you will then put your your used bottle into
A vending machine.
and then it pays you, or you have done that. But in some countries you also find that there is you find it like in cities where you go there's beaches there. You find there's different color codings. This is where you put paper, this is where you put hard plastic, this is where you put soft plastic, this is where you put bottles and
I will talk about the beach because you love the beach.
Should I relocate, or when I relocate of it, you will find me somewhere there. We will have Mogalakwena TV, Indian Ocean Mogalakwena TV. You will find us there. But this and these help with recycling and creating consciousness.
Yeah.
Are you using the very same model in schools to say this is where you put your teens, the teeny badrela bana ba rena ditlhapi, and then the plastic the covering, do they have those things? Do they have where they recycle their white papers, their used white papers, after question papers and all these things? Do they have those things?
Yes. Most of the school and the Department of Education has helped with bins, the drum. Unfortunately, they're not color coded, but in terms of the schools that we're working with, they do have the cage.
Yeah.
But really the cage where they put in the
recyclable materials. Yeah.
And they store paper, and we try to link them with local recyclers to go and collect Koskolong for incentives.
Yeah.
The program is not really working that well because remember the waste industry is not waste for now. It's not really, it's a game of volumes. Right? The more the volumes, the more the money.
Yeah.
The lesser the volumes, the lesser the money. You understand? So it's not appetizing or which are for a lot of people to participate in. So with the countries that you've mentioned is that they have systems in place to make it even more appetizing and accessible. Another thing, accessibility of those things. So that's the challenge. But we're working on something. We're working on something which I hope that this year we'll release a prototype of what we're working on.
Yeah.
You will love it as well. That will create an appetite for people to recycle. One, there's this thing, our recycling is for certain group of people. Certain group of people cannot recycle. But the damage that is happening affects all classes. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But our psyche and our way of thinking does not allow us to admit to that. You understand? So we are working on something that will try to address it. We are not saying it's going to address it in total, but it's gonna try to mitigate in terms of making sure that there's a balance of class in terms of especially diversion of waste. How do we divert waste from going to the landfill site, because that's what we want to target. Secondly, you spoke about separation at source.
Yeah.
Separation at source is one of the things that government has been advocating for a long time. They've not have a clear system as to how they can implement and actually instill that in community, even in urban areas. Municipality comes and collect. Yapala separation and source. They're still mixing garden waste and all those waste, and masipala such a garden waste. No, but not like and everything, which is a problem, because then the landfill site, the people who are doing waste recovery on landfill site, they can't use that. It becomes very problematic for them to collect and recover such waste, because they have to clean it. Then it's and it's not as valuable as one. So there's a lot of things that are happening. Actually, there's a vending machine go vendor go Toyando. There's that vending machine over go China. There's one Toyando that you can go and then put your recyclable waste, and then it gives you money. So there's quite a lot that is happening in South Africa. Problem where our communities are we're still in the fourth industrial revolution. Our communities, they are rural. You understand? There's a lot of education that also needs to go into the process, and education needs a lot of investment from government in terms of environmental literacy. Yes.
And are you applying this at home when? Yeah. Because you may be coming here and then no, we must recycle, then we must separate, and we must do this. But are you doing this? Do you have systems?
Yeah, you should visit.
Yeah.
Visit. I have.
So are you saying what? It's been long since I came Kware?
Yeah, you'll find one. If you
have a vending machine.
Oh no, I don't machine. On my bed, on my bed, plastics and bottles.
Yeah,
I understand.
Sure.
Because you can't practice what you don't preach.
Sure.
And a lot of people by lorry, they travel with me, and it's good. But I guess I don't know if they do it. They don't throw things outside the window. Hey,
yeah, sure.
Understand? So it's also part of who I am. Like I'm very conscious in terms of those kind of things. Or I prefer certain BEVs over certain ones, because I understand, or this one I can get something out of it which is much more valuable than the bottle one, or the bottle one over there, the aluminum one. I understand. So to not 100%, you can't be 100%. You understand? There's still human element. You understand? Just long plastic chips and throw it on the ground, on the floor. So I try by all means that I reduce my footprint.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Envirovito.
Yes.
What is the plan going forward? I know you disclose what you must, but what is the plan going forward in the next 2-3 years to come?
There'll be a lot of initiatives and that will be launched. For recycling, for teachers, for local businesses. So there's quite a lot that we want to launch. And one of the critical things that we want to do now, which is a major issue for now, is the issue of equality. Do you know that the Waterberg district was declared an equality priority zone in 2012 by the minister then. By 2012. So
because only air pollution in around here. And what are the causes? Just such air pollution.
It would be mining. Sorry for me, power stations, mining activities, transport. Understand? So it was declared in 2012. 12. You don't even know.
I don't even
That
know.
is the first problem that we were actually trying to address now. To say, this thing has been declared cutting 12, but no one in the Waterberg district knows or this area is an air quality priority area. And what does that mean for you and me and for our kids? You understand? It means that in the coming years, have you been to Emalahleni?
I've been there.
You've seen Emalahleni?
I've been.
It's
You,
coming.
you can't breathe. You can't breathe.
It's coming.
You go Ochis, you go with bank.
Have you been to Ochis?
You go, yeah, go Ochis. You don't know if ke poker or it's smoke.
So you know what's funny? Last year, December, there was this group of people who were doing a research. They called me. They said, "No, we hear that you're working on environment. What is the biggest challenge?" Nerelico, some hotel in town. I won't mention the name. What is the biggest environmental challenge that you think is being caused by the mines? You know what I did? Motor flame. I went like this. PM10. We're in town. You know how far is the mines from town, but on the table I was able to get PM10. So it's bad. It's bad now, but I see now the department has launched another air quality monitoring station. But monitoring station does not mean mitigation, because if there's no mitigation, you can monitor all you like. We don't want, and then there is no plan. Another thing is, there is no plan in the whole Waterberg of mitigating air quality since 2012. Amadoda siyafa, kancane kancane siyafa.
Rarehema.
Dust and
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I went to Lephalala last year. So Brian Kekana, show Brian.
Yes.
Brian takes me to Lephalala, and then there's school competitions there, and I get there excited, and when I get there, there's about 2-3 guys who've put on Envirovito t-shirts. I'm like, and I'm an opportunist. She said, "No, man, do you get Brian?" Like, okay, we see you. But how? What is the relationship between you and Lapalala?
Lapalala Wilderness School.
Yes,
we have a very good relationship. So what we believe in is collaboration with stakeholders.
Yeah.
So what we want to do, we know we cannot achieve by ourselves. So we are collaborating with like-minded institutions, and we're trying to identify like-minded, especially within the Waterberg Biosphere Reserve. Lapalala Wilderness School has been doing a lot of jobs, great work with schools in terms of environmental education.
Yeah.
They have a beautiful center. One day I'll just ask one of them to come and do an interview here. And then if needs be, I can even try to ask them if you can go there and load Jadinap. Just see the place. That place is
I've been there, and I think Gebiza is agreeing with us that they should invite us. They must write us an email.
That place is a small heaven.
Yes.
It's very beautiful. Everything. You know, that thing is my ideal world. You know, if I'm there, I'm at heaven. I don't pray when I'm there because I've arrived.
Yeah.
So that is breathtaking. So we built a relationship immediately after we've registered. We went there and we said, "You've been doing this work. We are new kids in the block. We need to be mentored." And Mr. Makoka Mashud, who's the director there, was very much welcoming.
Yeah.
The staff there are still working with TK now, Sustainable Schools, Bullies. You know, they were very welcoming. They treated us like their baby, you know, showed us the robes. Said our doors are always, I mean, we like one big happy family with Lapalala and the Waterberg Biosphere Reserve. And man, that place, the environment, the people there, you won't regret.
Sure.
Yeah, it's you. Waterberg is blessed, by the way. We're just destroying it bit by bit. And this air quality thing is very serious.
Your closing remarks, as the thing is, we do not. I think we should come up with a word, because we cannot close. But as we close, because we do not have a better word to say we are wrapping up. But as we finish this conversation, because this is not a once-off kind of conversation, I think it should be a regular thing to create awareness and consciousness in and amongst our people and businesses that are watching. And we know these businesses that are watching. We know what people
Hello,
in
businesses.
and people in municipalities are watching us. They may not be talking about it, but they are watching us. And what is your message to these sectors, municipalities, business sectors, and to ordinary people who are at home with regard to the well-being of the environment?
Money is not everything. There's certain things that money cannot buy, and there's certain things that we cannot replace. Once they are gone, they're gone. No amount of prayer, no amount of prayer, no amount of scientific research and inventions will replace certain things.
Sure.
So the little that we have now, we must start to protect, like the resources that we have now. I mean, Arsana clean water. We basically have clean water. Well, that should tell you. Now is the air. Farming. When we're talking about farming, Arsana right. Honestly, everything now is chemicals. It shows that the planet is dying. So, guys, money is not everything. Yeah, I know we're all gonna die, but let's not kill the planet. I know. It's not a funny joke, but I always say that there's people who believe that this world is not their home. Or understand, but that should not be the case.
Donald Trump over somewhere.
Yes. Oh, Donald Trump over Vija. You know, it's a
Sure.
Let's mind responsibly. Everything that we do, let us do it responsibly. There's a tomorrow. Yes.
Sure. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that was very informative. It was very educational. And we can never have enough of this. I think we need to reschedule for another week. And there is Mogalakwena TV, my bra.
Sure.
We operating in an environment like is a physical, but this environment that we are operating from, what is the impact? What do you see, and what do you have to say about Mogalakwena TV as a member of this community, as a resident Mogalakwena Momokopane? What do you have to say about Mogalakwena TV?
Well, when I saw the concept, Komatomong, when it was launched, I said, this is one of the things that we need.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, this is a very important tool.
Sure.
To advance the interest of the community. This is something which we as a community can showcase our true characters as the people of Mogalakwena. It's a platform for us to show our excellence. You understand? And something that we can use to brag about. You know, we are known for a lot of nonsensical and but people don't know the best of the best that we have. And this is the platform.
Yeah.
You understand?
Sure.
So this is big. Understand that? It depends on which side of the bed you wake up on. But if you wake up on the side that is able to see beyond the door that you came into, then you'll understand, this is big. So I love Mogalakwena TV. I'm a fan. I watch almost all the episodes. Because it's an inspiration.
Yeah.
I understand, and I'd love to be part of this big big
I was
growth.
go market just CV boards. Don't do it on air.
Kenya ko marketer.
Yeah, but you see what you love to be part of it, and you're saying go rena or hearing. Again, we are reading between the lines, so we are hearing you. Renara ho kwa roring. Lamo ko ba fe check it. Phone ya kamu. There's something that you guys wrote in the morning. Mara, we hear you. Gore motšhiši o tla ka mmereko ba ge. As you continue.
But to the team, Mr. Maolela and the team.
Sure.
This is big. Understand that? This is big. You know, Rena black people, we have a funny way of responding to something which is big. We have a very funny way of responding to something which is big. Raichava, and Arena got me to Raichava, Raitoy. That is how we respond to something that we feel this thing is hitting the nerve.
Sure.
Like, hey, it's big. Yeah, sorry haters, you are lovers. This is big.
Sure.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. I'm not a hater, I'm a lover. So to the team, guys, this is big. You know, yeah. I don't like
You and we don't really hug that much, so
yeah, I am not a hugger.
yeah, ne?
Yeah.
So yeah, we sometimes try not to hug.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. And I for one know where Envirovito comes from.
Yeah.
You know, I was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was part of the first people and people may not remember me, but I'm that guy. I was there, my page. I was there. You can ask him. Now I was there. Madiba ke rena trauma wa batho ba ditakala mola. Dipampa tsela ne le dilatela mola. Nna ke ditopile. So
for cleanups were fashionable.
yeah. Le re sa ditšhile di video re sa re tsebo rra gona le ntwa trend nke be ke trend no. But we played our part and we know where it comes from and to see it growing. That is why when I went to Lephalala and people were looking at me funny ukare understand but I know where it comes from. And you continue to be an inspiration and we love what you're doing and we wish you nothing but the best. We wish that you will enlarge and grow to inspire more people, to educate more people, to reach to more people, to reach to more institutions, to reach to more environmentalists, since when you said when you are an activist and activate other activists, you know, in other areas to say we can never be without our environment.
True.
And the first thing that we found when we came here on earth was the environment. You know, and ours was to replenish it and subdue it and to benefit out of it. But we are working on a negative, unfortunately, and but thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to Mogalakwena TV. And as Mogalakwena TV, we salute you, we celebrate you. But I want to read this. I when I woke up in the morning, I saw this and I was happy and I loved the second person who loved it. But Mogalakwena TV on the Facebook page or on our Facebook page, we wrote, "You will inspire some and annoy others. Do it anyway."
Yeah.
If you are a hater,
You're
we
a
know you are a lover. That is why you are able to tell us things. Hey, Mike, thank you for watching.
Yes.
Thank you for following us. Thank you for your comments. We love you. You will inspire others and you will annoy others. But do it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Mogalakwena TV. This is your host, Donald D. Mogalakwena TV, the bigger picture. We move. We're signing out with Mr.